Okay, welcome to T session 12, peripherals and connectors. We have today's objectives. Can I get a volunteer to read the objectives? Eric?
Define the role of, oops.
Sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Objectives. Define the role, purpose, and types of peripherals. Compare and contrast various connection interfaces, their characteristics, and purpose. Identify connector types and associated cables. Install common peripheral devices, including input and output devices.
Thank you. So when you guys think of peripherals, what comes to mind?
Keyboard.
Yeah?
Mouse.
Any more? Absolutely. There's got to be a few more things, guys.
A graphic card.
Speakers. Okay. Web camera.
Accessories.
Would you say your TV?
Flash disk.
I mean, it's possible for the TV. Let's look at what else we have
I'm
here.
using a
Webcam?
TV as a peripheral right now. So I'm casting a extended desktop to a TV. So
A printer, speaker, Alexa.
Would a headset count?
Alexa. Say again?
Would a headset count?
yes,
Yes.
A headset, just in case, because I think Babukar said something too.
A sound bar. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
This is getting my brains confused a little bit, Rachel, because when you say peripherals, I'm thinking the eyes, but I'm getting used to it.
You're thinking, what word did you say?
The eyes. You know when you label the eye, peripherals, and all that stuff?
Peripheral vision.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
now I'm coming back to technical parts. So
Okay.
I'm here
Yes.
with you, though.
Switching gears a little bit.
Yes.
So the behavioral skills and mindsets we're going to talk about are customer focus, a growth mindset. So what is a peripheral device? Who can give me the definition or read this slide?
An auxiliary device that adds functionality to a computer, such as a mouse, keyboard, printer, webcam, digital camera. A peripheral device. Oh, keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, a peripheral device is almost always external and is always an add-on to a system.
And some of the things that were mentioned are in this picture here, types of peripheral devices. Just keep those in mind. And if there's an important, well, all the slides are important, but if there's one that you should especially pay attention to, I'll let you guys know. So here we have some input components. Can someone list them for me?
Keyboard, gamepad, biometric device, touchpad, mouse, joystick, microphone, barcode reader, scanner, webcam, digitizer, card reader.
Does anything here surprise anybody? Pretty straightforward. Okay, now we have input and output components. Who can tell me what a KVM is?
I can.
Is that Adriel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keyboard, video, and mouse. Sharing auxiliary cable. So it's like it allows you to share the same keyboard, monitor, and mouse across multiple systems.
Yes, which can be very effective. Very effective.
If you don't want to have 3 keyboards and 5 mice and 2 monitors.
Yeah, most of the time I don't.
My
Just
wall
one.
looking crazy right now.
So there's also touchscreen, smart TV, and MIDI enabled device. Is anybody familiar with the MIDI or MIDI? Yeah. Does anyone know what it stands for? I think it's musical instrument digital, well, I think it's a digital interface. I believe so. Okay, here are some output components I think we're pretty aware of. Monitor, printer, speakers. So here are input-output connections. I would just get familiar with this and pay attention to this slide to make sure you know the ports that are listed here, because you will see this slide again. Are any of these ports new to anyone, or Adriel?
I didn't know they had a joystick port, a game port for joysticks alone.
Yeah, they
That's
did.
very new to me. Maybe
Actually, it's
I was
quite
spoiled.
old school.
Right, I was gonna say
I was
it's
gonna
new to
say
you, but
maybe
it's
it's because I'm a little spoiled with USB and stuff. but
Yes, the single connector generation.
it's it's just good
but
to
even
be
then,
aware
that was
of.
like you went somewhere and you played a game like that. You didn't know you could plug it into a computer.
Do we all recognize the LPT1 port? Okay.
Also a bit old school.
Mm-hmm. And not many of us are still using dial-up modems. So just keep the slide and these ports and these labels in mind. Now we're going to talk about the universal serial bus. Can I have a reader for this slide? Or I'll pick someone. Babukar?
We can't hear you,
I can't quite
Babacar.
hear you. It's muffled.
Sounds like you're
It sounds
underwater.
like your Bluetooth attached to a different system. Nope, you're still far away. It's like your Bluetooth is connected to another device.
I can come back to you as soon as you fix
Uh-oh, you missed your point.
Okay, an engine, can you read for me?
Sure. USBs use serial transmissions. A single host controller can support up to 127 devices chained together. USB devices are hot swappable. A USB cable has 4 wires, 2 for power and 2 for communication. The USB standard has gone through several revisions. USB 1.1, low speed, full speed, USB 2.0, high speed, USB 3.0, super speed, USB 3.1, super speed, USB 10 gigabytes, GPS, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, gigabits per second.
Oh, gigabits.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Did anything here surprise you guys about the USB on this slide? Anything you didn't
The
know?
127 devices. thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that surprised me. And that is chained together. How
Like a
about the
daisy chain? Is that what it's called? Or is it just for monitors? I'm not sure.
Well, daisy chaining can be done with hard drives and stuff like that. I'm not sure they specifically considered a daisy chain in this particular instance, but through hubs and various
hubs?
things like that, yeah, you can get
Okay.
up to about 127 devices on a single connection.
Mhm. And what does it mean when it says the USB device is hot swappable?
You can replace it quickly, easily.
You can unplug it
While it's still on.
while operating the computer.
There we go.
Right. And did we know that the cables have 4 wires and 2 are for power and 2 are for communication?
That was the first thing I thought about when you said USB. It's always out there in their marketing.
So the next slide, there's going to be, I think you should take a screenshot up. I'm just letting you know in advance. Because here is giving you specifications, maximum speed. And we were talking about previously in the previous slide, the full speed, high speed, super speed. And the USB versions 1.0 or 1.1, 12 megabits per second, USB 2.0, 480 megabits per second, USB 3.0, 5 gigabits per second, super speed, and maximum cable lengths, USB 1.0, 3 meters, total cable lengths with hubs. That's interesting to note, but the maximum cable lengths and the maximum speeds is what I would pay attention to on this slide.
This is why you're not able to find really long USB cables. Does anybody know why this is?
Because it will slow down what the longer it is, probably.
The further, yeah.
Transfer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, Ramon. Correct, Francis. What happens is you start to get signal bleed, where they're crossing over on the wires, and the signal gets less and less clear, so it's harder to get information through. This is something that's called attenuation, and it happens on any data cable, which is why you will see maximum length. So when you sit there and you ask yourself, do I need to know the maximum length? Yes, you do, especially when you're talking about instances like Ethernet and stuff like that, where you may end up making cables. You need to make sure you're not making cables too long because they won't be able to function properly.
Yep, and that's the case for other types of cables as well.
Mhm.
So does everyone have this imprinted somewhere on their mind or on their phone or saved as a screen capture? Okay.
Oh, 1 second. I want to screenshot it right now.
Okay.
I just want to
Okay, thank you.
clarify, it's called continuation, and that's why USB cords are short.
Attenuation, it's an A, attenuation.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's my southern drawl. Lets it blend together a little bit.
No, I'm pretty sure my brain just made you say continuation when you didn't.
So, yeah, no, attenuation.
Attenuation, okay.
We have the screenshot. We're good? Okay. USB cables and connectors. Let's see. Stacy, are you available to read the slide?
Yes. USB cables and connectors. Connectors A is the male, is flat and wide, and it connects to an A male USB port. B is a male connector, is square and connects to a USB 1 times or 2.0 device such as a printer. Mini B connector has 5 pins and is often used to connect small electronic devices, such as a digital camera, to a computer. Micro B connector has 5 pins and has a smaller height than a mini B connector. It's used on digital cameras, cell phones, and other small electronic devices.
Thank you so much. What we're trying to take away with this is making sure you know what the connectors look like and what they are called. So for instance, when it's saying the mini B connector is a little bit larger than the micro B because it kind of looks like a hat. It's got a little more space that's in between.
We have another graphic where it has a straight on shot of them and it's a little clearer, but we'll show you guys that a little bit later.
And of course, we've seen these connectors before in life and connecting different things to our systems or our cell phones. Okay, here's another USB cables and connectors slide. And Rena, can you read this one for me?
Rachel, I'm sorry about that. So I want to know, like, when it says a male and a female, right? Because when we were doing the lab where we had to do it, and it tells you put the male on the keyboard, no, yeah, something like that, and then put the female on the CPU, you know, and you had to put the parts together. So if you put the male on a different thing, is it gonna do any harm, or they just want us to do it that way?
If you put it in a different place, it just won't connect properly.
Right. It usually will not fit because
The
it's not the
shape
right
of the
connection.
connector will prevent it from being plugged in.
Yeah, male means there's a prong sticking out of it, and a female means something is going to go into that part of the plug.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes. Males usually protrude and females are usually recessed. But like you said, it goes into. Exactly. That was a good description.
Okay. Thank you. Who was that? Thank you so much.
Donnie.
All right.
Donald. And Rena, you can go ahead and read now. Thank you.
Micro A connector has 5 pins and is smaller than the mini B connector. It's used on digital cameras, cell phones, and other small electronic devices. USB 3.0 A male and B male connectors and ports are blue. The USB 3.0 connectors will not fit the connection on a USB 1.1 or 2.0 device. USB 3.0 B male connector is used by super speed USB 3.0 devices such as printers or scanners. USB 3.0 micro B connector is used by super speed USB 3.0 devices. The connectors are not compatible with regular micro B connectors.
Thank you. Okay, a couple of takeaways. Ports are blue. What does that usually mean?
3.1 USB, right?
Yes. Or
3.0.
3.0. Yes. Always remember that. That's a good point to remember. And the micro B connector. When you look at this connector, it looks like a B. You could draw a B around it so you can remember that shape. And I say this because you're going to see diagrams that we have you label, where you're going to label the connectors as you see them. So it's just little tips to help you identify the connectors. Okay. And let's see. Brianna, can you read the slide for me?
Yeah, Type C connector is a 24-pin, fully reversible plug USB connector system, allowing transport of data and energy.
Are we familiar with the Type C? And when
I have on my phone.
Yes. And what does it mean by fully reversible? Or what do you think?
You can plug it in anyway, and it works. There's no top or bottom to it, so you can keep flipping it around. It will always plug in.
Very good. Very
Similar
good.
to the Lightning USB.
Yes. But typically when they mention fully reversible, they're speaking about type C. And with regards to USB connection, or with most data connections, this is the way of the future at the moment. Even Apple, you know, due to lawsuits in Europe, is now being forced to adopt the C to its platform.
Very interesting. And this is a frontal picture of those different connectors, if you need to take a shot of that. Okay, now moving on to FireWire, the IEEE 1394. Let's see. George, would you mind reading?
FireWire has all the features of USB, but uses different connectors. FireWire 400, 139.4a supports 2 types of connectors and cables, a 4-pin connector that does not provide voltage to a device and a 6-pin connector that does. It also runs at 400 megabits per second and allows up to 16 daisy chain devices. Maximum cable length is 4.5 meters. FireWire 800, 139.4b uses a 9-pin rectangular connector, runs at 800 megabits per second with a maximum cable length of 100 meters, and allows up to 63 FireWire devices chained together.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So the takeaway is knowing that IEEE 1394 basically is a standard for this cable, and there's 2 versions, a A and a B, and noticing the 400 megabits per second in the cable length for A and for B, because for B it's 800 megabits per second, maximum length of 100 meters. Anything else you would add, Kelly, about that?
I'm not sure why you would have a hard drive 100 meters away from your desktop, but that's kind of cool. I would keep in your mind that IEEE 1394 and FireWire are interchangeable, so please remember both of those. You may see it mentioned as one or the other.
Yes, very true. Thank you. Thank you.
And IEEE is just the governing body that oversees standards for electronics. That's when we start getting into like 802.11 and stuff like that, you'll see that a lot more.
Yep, that is to come. And this is just showing you FireWire cable and connectors, so you're familiar with what they look like. And now we're going to move on to infrared. And let me see. Can you read this slide for me?
Okay. Sorry. Infrared is an outdated wireless technology to connect personal device. IR requires an unobstructed line of sight up to 5 meters between the transmitter and receiver. Allows up to 4 megabytes per second for fast speed IR, up to 1.15 megabytes per second for medium speed IR, and up to 115 kilobytes per second for slow speed IR. Today, the most common use of infrared is by remote controllers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, infrared. What's wrong with it and what's right with it? What do you think? What are the advantages or disadvantages?
It can only connect to
Your mic's still got an issue, Babacar. I'm not sure what's going on.
No. Crystal?
I think that with infrared, there, is it dangerous?
Thankfully not.
Okay, that's all I've got. I'm
Let's say.
sorry.
All right.
That's a
I
whole
have some-
conversation, I'm
Again.
telling you.
It depends on who's holding the remote control, honestly.
I could take a guess. I think.
Okay.
I think the distance matter for infrared. I think we use for low distance.
Infrared doesn't really work for long distance.
That's right.
And is it does it stop working? Like if it's not near?
So look at your range. How far away is that?
It's not that far.
5 meters.
15 feet.
15 feet, right?
Yeah. And
So-
what is unobstructed?
So nothing could be in
It
the
means
nothing
line
could
of
be in the
sight.
way.
Yeah, clear line of sight, 15 meters. It is wireless. And then what's the other main take? What's the other problem you can see with this?
You can intercept the signal with something.
It's like you got to be in the same. Oh, I'm sorry, my fault.
No, you're fine. Intercepted, yeah, possibly.
Not reliable.
And it can be blocked.
Yeah,
It can
be blocked
yeah, it can
very
be blocked.
easily.
Ninja's got a really good point in chat. It's really slow. You're not going to be streaming over infrared.
Yeah, we hope not. It's not going to make it.
So for low volume transfers, it works, which is why we use it for remote control technology. I mean, up until they started changing over to Bluetooth, things like that. The direct line of sight can become problematic. Any other things you can think of, Rachel?
Yep, that was 2 key things pretty much.
One other thing is in really bright sunlight, it can interfere with your data transfer. So if you're outside and it's really bright, it can't read the signal effectively. Not that I'm aware of, Lincoln. I think you're thinking a little more ultraviolet.
Okay, we'll move on to Bluetooth then. Let's see. And is it Danae? Can you read that for me?
Yeah, you said Janae, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, no problem. Bluetooth is a radio frequency technology that can connect a device to a computer at a range of about 35 feet, which is 10 meters. It operates in the 2.4. How do you say that? Is it gigahertz?
Gigahertz, yes.
Okay, yes, gigahertz band. Version 2.0 offers 3. I don't know that one.
Megabits per second.
You know, I do know it. Let me just say it. Instead of
Go
being
ahead.
scared to say it, because I knew it was gigahertz and it was megabits, and I just don't want to get it wrong. Okay, so version 2.0 offers 3 megabits, which is actual throughput of 2.1. I don't understand that though, megabits. With actual throughput of 2.1 megabits. Yeah, I don't understand that last one, but the other two make sense.
No, you got it. You did it right. You're fine.
Good.
You did good. It
Okay.
was perfect.
Think of it
We
like
appreciate
like this. Your internet provider says, "Hey, we'll give you 300 megabits per second per, transfer speed for your internet." But the best you can get at like 3 o'clock on a Tuesday morning when nobody's on the internet, the best you can do is like 200 megabits per second. That's your actual throughput. So The communication is going two ways. So what you actually see is going to be lower than its maximum capabilities.
And that happens a lot.
Yes. I often joke with Comcast when they call me like, you want to bump up to 300? I'm like, well, I'm at 150 now, and I'm only getting half that. So if I bump to 300, I'll actually get what I'm supposed to be getting now.
Oh, that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a hose. Think
Yep.
of it like that.
Only so much can pass through at any given time, but it's, you have to think of the hose as being able to go both directions. So the total amount that can go through is X amount, but you may only get 80% of it downstream and 20% upstream.
Mm-hmm. Good illustration. Good illustration. I think we have another chart, if I remember correctly. No, we don't. Okay. So what I would remember for the Bluetooth is the frequency that it operates on and the range.
They don't want to talk about plot bar. Kidding.
Okay, who remembers these? Device connectors. PS2, mini DIN. Those lovely colors and those connectors for your keyboard and mouse. And this is a picture of the serial port or DB9. Are we going to talk about this later, Kelly, about the router console or?
Are you talking about using this about the modems and connectors and stuff during the networking section? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your parallel point, DB25.
And the number refers to the number of pins.
Yes, and DB is D sub miniature.
Yes, and they say D because if you lay it on its side, it looks like a D.
D.
It's like a rhombus.
Were used for dot matrix printers back in the days.
Yep. It's an old printer port. I still get eye twitches when I think about dot matrix.
Okay, and here's a network cable connector RJ45. Not to be confused with a telephone connector RJ11, which is smaller.
And from henceforth, we will always refer to it as an RJ45, not a network cable connector.
Correct. Okay, installing input and output peripheral devices. Donald, can you read this one for me?
Yeah, sure. Number one, read the manufacturer's directions. Number two, make sure the drivers provided with the device are written for the operating system you are using. Number three, make sure the motherboard port you are using is enabled. Number four, install drivers or plug in the device. Some devices are plug and play, while others require to install drivers before plugging in. Number five, install the application software to use a device.
Why do we think it's important to read the manufacturer's directions?
Because it's our job.
Have you ever installed something and you're like, it should be finished, should be done, but never connected, never recognized? Adriel?
I think I'm the king of mistakes. I've lost a lot of good things because I didn't read stuff because I thought I was just like that. you know. Reading the manual for certain things makes it a lot easier as well. You end up not wasting as much time as you would have because it was just always there. Not to mention certain things like with the device drivers, sometimes like what you said, Rachel, you think you plug something in and it's like, it's not working. Why is it not working? And so you unplug it and then you make sure everything is plugged in. You try to make sure everything else is okay. Then you realize, oh, I probably should have installed the drivers first. That probably would have helped. And then you realize what you were working on for about an hour and a half could have been solved in 15 minutes. It's rough, especially when you're on a time crunch.
Exactly. You could avoid a lot of heartache and stress if we look
Very much.
beforehand. And sometimes there, if this happens, then this in the instructions as well. And sometimes things need to take place in a certain order as well. So, and also another thing that stuck out to me is to make sure the port is enabled on your motherboard. That's very important. Aside from drivers, because if it's not enabled, you're not going to recognize it, won't really be installed. Okay, so who can name the connectors? Let's see. This one, Babacar.
RG45.
Okay. And the one next to it?
Which one? The one in the middle?
Yes.
The one in the middle is not a USB 3. Is it a USB 3 3.0?
Need more details, little more details. So it's a USB 3.0.
Yeah, that's what I said, USB 3.0.
I know, there's one more, we're missing one more key piece of information.
Oh.
You're very close. I noticed all the hands went down when I said that. all the help evaporated the moment I asked that question. It was like, I got it. Nope.
It's like, can he phone a friend? No.
Somebody said mail.
It isn't, yeah, but that's not the piece of information I'm looking for. I'm looking for a type. So it's a USB 3.0 type.
Type 2?
A.
There we go. Type A.
Type A.
USB 3.0 type A. That is your standard USB shape.
Then you have the PS2.
So USB 3.0 type A. Very good.
Thank you. Okay, and this next one, an engine, do you have your hand up?
Well, I was just gonna say Firewire.
Okay, and what is the standard?
The triple E 94 something.
Part of the numbers on there, but
Yes.
you're very close.
Triple E 1394, right?
IEEE.
Yeah, okay. IEEE 1394.
Okay. Let's try this one.
A phone jack.
Landline.
Which is, yes, Stacy, also called what designation?
RJ11.
Yes. Thank you.
RJ11.
Can anybody think of another name we might call this? There's another real quick acronym they'll use for this.
A LAN?
Not a LAN, no.
Kelly, are you talking about the type of cable it is?
Nope. And we're not talking about the type of cable. But there's another quick reference they'll say when they're just speaking about an old phone connection.
I think somebody said it.
Dial-up?
Nope.
Somebody said landline.
No. They'll use the term POTS.
On jack?
Not a phone jack, Devo, but close. POTS, POTS, which stands for plain old telephone service.
Telephone.
Not television. Plain old telephone service. POTS. So you might hear somebody say a POTS line.
Yeah, you definitely might see that on the test. Okay, how about this connector?
Mini USB?
Mini USB.
Who said that?
Mini USB.
Nissim.
Yeah.
Okay. And why do you say it's a mini?
Because it's smaller than the regular size USB port plug.
And it has a hat.
Right. So, yes. So it also differs from the micro. Okay. And this connector. Adriel, you have your hand up?
PS2?
Yes.
Yeah. PS2 for keyboards though, not for the mouse.
Thank you for precision. Lavacar, do you still have your hand up?
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, how do I clear it? Okay, I thought it would go away.
No, you got to clear them, but I was
Okay, I was
waiting
like,
for
what
because
was
I do that constantly where I move on. I'm like, dang it, full drawings.
Yeah, I have to practice that more. Okay, so now we need to match up. Remember I said you would see this screen again? Let's see. LPT1 printer port. Describe that connector to me.
Well, nah, this is our test.
Yes, Artez.
I'm gonna take a stab at it. Will it be the purple, the long purple one?
It's the long one, yeah, which is kind of purple pinkish.
Pinkish, yeah. What is it? How many do it? Excuse me, sir. Does the number of holes in it matter, or does it have a number, or does it change all the time?
We did discuss that. Do you remember us discussing a DB number?
24 or 36?
Someone said it.
Or 25?
25.
25. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the serial port.
Pink?
Lincoln, I'm sorry, Lincoln?
Wouldn't it be like this light blue one right here? Next to the, like the light blue one besides the other color that is. It's like right there by, yeah.
Okay, does it have pins in it or does it have holes in it?
Pins.
Yes. Okay. And since we're on that, on the right side of it, which port is that? The blue one with the holes in it.
Talking to me?
Anybody who will answer?
What is the question?
What is the port? The blue port with the holes in it? Next to the serial port.
We could just call it out.
Go ahead.
That's the VGA port.
Yes, very good.
What'd you say?
VGA. VGA port. Okay, below the VGA port.
That's for the speakers.
And then what's the next one?
The line.
You're right. And the last one?
The microphone.
Okay. And where is the network port?
On the second row to the right.
And what is left of the network port?
USB.
And what is above the network port and the USB port?
DIN.
Yes. And I think we left one out, the yellow one.
The joystick.
Game port.
Thank you. Very good. So objectives revisited, define the role, purpose, and types of peripherals, compare and contrast various connections, interfaces, and their characteristics. Let's see. Identify connector types, associated cables, install common peripheral devices, including input and output devices. So I know we went through these connectors kind of fast because a lot of them are already familiar to us, but it will be a part of kind of your daily routine to identify these connectors a little bit later on.
Are there more
the code.
specific names?
Yes. George.
Can I just have a quick look at the two diagrams you had before, the one with all the ports and the one with also all the with everything connected to it, like where we had all the lines drawn towards what was what?
Towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
That one, yeah.
Oh, what happened?
The one that we just passed before that one, and the one with all the ports as well. Yes, that one. Thank you. And the one with all the ports that were drawn. I missed those by accident. Oh, thank you.
Here we are.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Did you guys have any other questions?
I wanted to ask a question about FireWire.
Okay.
Where is that used, if used at all anymore?
I know, it's almost like it's phased out.
What, there's no
sometime-
Nintendo DS players out there?
No, but what? Oh, never mind. Okay, okay, you didn't need to say that, all right? But now I'm getting very nostalgic. That was me.
Hard drives, mostly used in hard drives. But yeah, Nintendo DS used a FireWire.
Is it one of those? I think you said the name. I think like 2 sessions, like a legacy type of port, where it's used just for a certain type of job, like a specific job.
FireWire is becoming more of a legacy type connection and medium because USB-C is just so much faster and significantly more universal. So like a lot of these older USB ports and stuff are kind of fading out and converting up to the USB-C. It's just a much better technology. So I still have a couple FireWire hard drives that I utilize. I mean, they worked fantastic, but They don't even put the ports on computers anymore for them. So I have to use adapters.
Okay, I think we are done.